You want to read that?
Yeah.
Fresh reports floating in the rumor mill's circulatory system claims that NVIDIA backtracked on its plans to launch their higher VRAM capacity versions of their RTX 3080 and, in the meantime, delayed RTX 3070. These cards launched with 10 gigabytes of VRAM for the RTX 3080 and 8 gigabytes of VRAM for the RTX 3070, with reports circulating as early as their announcement that there would be double capacity versions hitting the market just a few months later, specifically in December of this year.
In chat, they said that wrestling was less lame in the 80s because I was 10.
Oh, that's a good point.
There is some truth. You know what?
When you get older, it's kind of like, what is this nonsense?
That's just a bunch of old sweaty men flying about the thing.
Exactly.
WrestleMania in the 80s was just... Yes, anyway. I'm so sorry for interrupting what you're doing.
Fine.
But when I saw that, I was just like...
There's nothing else to say. It's just bang, back to the drawing board for you. You guys
They're all more interested in the wrestling than they are the NVIDIA news.
Aries absolutely right. You must be new because we do go off on tangents. It should be called Tangent Tech.
Do you realize that this news comes... Well, we are exactly 7 days
a week
from Big Navi's reveal. So Big Navi is going to have a 16 gigabyte card. In fact, one of the other articles we're going to show in a minute is we got some more details on the specs.
Yep.
So if Big Navi has a 16 gig card, now here's the thing. I've been kind of like, yeah, Navi's over here, RTX NVIDIA, because I like the lower power consumption. I like the RTX features, DLSS. I like the NVIDIA encoder. But I'm interested to see what RDNA 2 brings, what Big Navi brings. I'm interested in seeing what they bring with ray tracing and variable rate shading and the scaling. I'm interested to see if they can compete with 3080 level performance. And if they can get... Look, I don't need Big Navi to match 3080. I just need to be in the ballpark.
Exactly.
If it's within 10%, it doesn't have to beat 3080 in my book. Let me put it this way. 3080 is basically non-existent. If Big Navi is only 10% slower, if the high-end card is 10% slower than a 3080, but it has 16 gigs of VRAM, and it's actually in stock, and it includes ray tracing, I'm going to be much more positive about that than I was about the RX 5700 XT launch last year.
Yes.
First of all, the RX 5700 XT launch last year was combined with drivers that were frankly pretty crap. And for 6 months, it was...
pretty...
I did very little with it because it was just useless. It's much better now. But it's not perfect, but it's much better now.
Correct.
But if RDNA 2 is just a refinement of Navi, meaning that they take the same drivers and they're just improving them, if we have better drivers and these features, I may end up being a big Navi fan.
Maybe.
I like whatever's a deal.
Yes.
And I'm not jumping up and down about the limited VRAM of the current products. And so 16 gigs of VRAM for the same price as a 3080?
Maybe.
Even if it's 10% slower, it may be the better long-term buy. We could joke about AMD fine wine technology, but 16 gigs of VRAM, man, I'm seeing a lot of titles chewing through 8 gigs of VRAM without even trying very hard. It's not hard. We've had mainstream graphics cards with 8 gigabytes of VRAM for more than 5 years now.
It's true. The
R9 390X launched with 8 gigabytes of VRAM more than 5 years ago. 4 years ago, the GTX 1070 and 1080 launched with 8 gigs of VRAM.
They did.
8 gigs is no longer a big deal.
No, it's not. You are correct.
It's time for 16 gigs of VRAM.
It is.
Looking at you, NVIDIA. What does chat have to say about the 20 gig and 16 gig card being potentially canceled?
Oh, a lot of them are like, well, it wasn't even real to begin with.
Was it?
No idea.
I had a chat. I tried yesterday. I had a phone call yesterday with somebody. I can't say who, but with somebody in the industry trying to get a 3080 and a 3090. I said, look, and they're like, man, you and everybody else. I said, but other people are getting cards, and they're like, yeah, well, there's only a handful of them, and, blah, 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 whatever. And I said, you can't possibly not have one extra card. And how do I'm trying to think of how to word this. They've had interest or orders or attempted orders from people, retailers, from distributors of 50 to 1 for what they actually have.
50 to 1? Those are some betting odds.
I'll share this quote with you because this won't be referenceable to anybody. If this particular company had 500,000 cards tomorrow, they think they could sell them in a week.
500,000 cards in a week?
There's that much demand. And they have 2% of that for the world.
For the world, exactly. I was going to say, that's not just for them.
The disparity between supply and demand is let's just say they had choice private words for NVIDIA screwing this launch. It's the disparity between supply and demand on the 3080 is beyond ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well, and then several tech tubers got multiple cards.
Yeah, which is why I have to be careful not. Here's what I really wanted to say yesterday, which was seriously, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, this reviewer got 4 cards. Frickin' send me one already. Give me a frickin' break. But you see, I can't. Beggars can't be choosers. I can't say it quite. Maybe I should say it like that. I don't know.
Exactly.
But it's pull your head out of your ass and send me one. Frickin' damn it.
Yeah, Fry is right. People are home. There is a huge demand on home entertainment because people are at home.
And to be clarified, this wasn't NVIDIA themselves that could sell 500,000 cards. This was one company.
Yeah, one company out of how many? Exactly.
NVIDIA could sell millions of these. First of all, the improvement in performance over the 20 series, the pent-up demand from the 10 series owners, and the fact that there is a ridiculous number of people sitting at home.
I mean, you've got 7 billion people now sitting at home.
So, yeah, it's
Oh, Calvin, Platinum. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Wow. Awesome. Thank you, Calvin. That is cool. 2 gold stars for Calvin. Platinum.
Wow. Calvin loves us.
Thank you, Calvin. Appreciate that, mate.
Calvin needs one of the new coffee mugs.
Yeah, I'll Calvin, if you message me on Discord, I'll get one to you, mate.
We got new mugs made with the new logos. And you did a very good job.
I did.
We need to get one made though with all 5 logos spread across them.
I don't know how to. And I also got a mouse pad too. I did think about that when I was ordering them.
Suggestion: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Doesn't work like that, darling.
It does if you have them custom printed.
It does tag your.
So you gotta be careful to make sure it stays on the box. We only have a few of those, so I don't want it going flying.
Now my bird is. Now your bird is drunk. He's flying. There we go.
They're in search of the most amazing video card.
Yeah, give me a 3080, damn it. People are still lining up in front of local micro center to hope. Wow.
Yeah, I still There's still no point in going over to Micro Center. They get 2 cards in and they sell them.
You can't cancel something that was never announced.
Well, all I can tell you is you would think that they would not want... They would want people to wait for the 16 and 20 gig cards so they don't buy Big Navi at launch. But I guess what difference does it make? If they got nothing to sell, they got nothing to sell. This has got to have completely destroyed the sales of the 20 series, though. What's NVIDIA selling? There's nothing to buy.
No.
It's...
No, not yet, Lasad. We're going to get to the super chats here in a minute. We're going to do them as a clump. So it's right here.
There's nothing... They got rid of the... Yeah, I don't know. I was looking forward to a 20 gig 3080. If a 20 gig 3080 had been $999, I'd have been excited about that. I mean, okay, I know everybody wants it to be cheaper, but I mean, if it had been 20 gigs of VRAM for $1,000, that would have been a fair deal. For the performance and for that much VRAM, for the future proofing of that much VRAM, I could have been excited. If the 16 gig 3070 had been $699, I'd been okay with that. 16 gigs of VRAM. It depends on the performance, obviously. We'd have to see.
Exactly.
And if it was a TI with a few more cores, if it split the gap a bit. Depends if it had GDDR6 or 6X. But if they're not coming, then it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.